Hey guys, welcome back to America First Brothers. You have Brother Walt and Dave Marshall sitting here, and today we want to address the backing the blue. Across the country, we're seeing how many, there's probably about 23 cities that have decided that they want to defund police. They don't need law enforcement anymore. They don't need to protect the citizens of their cities, towns across this country. And that's a big issue.
Well, we have a high murder rate, Dave, like in Detroit. Well, first of all, before I go on, y'all like that theme music? That's what I'm talking about, boy.
Mr. Beard.
That's right.
Mr. Beard picked that music for our intro.
Mr. Beard, where'd you find that at? Did you? Yeah. That's a declaimer. I just want to let you know that.
And stay tuned too, because we're getting ready to add another camera so that you can see Mr. Beard, and he can also be part of the show.
I think we need to come up with a better name, though. We can't use Mr. Producer because that's Mark Levin. No, that ain't gonna happen.
Call him Big Poppy.
Big Poppy. Big Poppy.
Big Poppy.
So no, really though, I love that theme music. But we're talking about Back to Blue, as Dave said. And Back to Blue, we know there's a lot of organizations on the left crazy that want to defund the police. They want to defund the police. And this is the deal. They'll want to defund the police and black neighborhoods, but black folks are saying, don't defund the police because we need them. I mean, I don't understand that.
No, you're right. And, it's funny is that here in Chicago, real quick, was that Chicago, when President Trump was the sitting president, he offered federal help. They refused it. Now, under Lightfoot, the mayor of Chicago, she said that she needed federal help. Well, what happens is when you start inviting the federal government in to come and take over your law enforcement, they are trying to federalize law enforcement. And if they do that, you're giving the government more control over your communities, over your people.
But here's the facts. When you defund the police, and this is not mine, this is from a report, and it says when you defund the police department's budgets and you cut those budgets, violence goes up, crime goes up, and the people who are committing the crimes, they love it because they get to run rampant. That's what's happening in these cities like Detroit. Now, Detroit already has an issue with a lot of gun violence, a lot of crime-ridden streets, and it's not the people who've been living there their whole lives who are respectful, who obey the law, who want law-abiding and safe streets. It's the people that come in to create this madness and take advantage of the fact that they're wanting to defund the police. Black folks don't want to defund the police.
No. Well, nationally, the polls that have been taken nationally across the United States, the citizens of this country do not want to defund the police. Mm-hmm. It is your progressive lefts that want to defund the police. Matter of fact, here, let me give you some of the cities real quick. I printed this off a Forbes report. What cities have defunded the police? You have New York City, Washington, D.C., Baltimore,
Democrat.
Philadelphia,
Democrat.
Los Angeles,
Democrat.
San Francisco,
Democrat.
Atlanta.
Can I drink my water?
Go for it.
Democrat.
Minneapolis, Seattle, Salt Lake City, Portland, Oregon, Hartford, Connecticut, Norman, Oklahoma, Austin, Texas.
Jeez.
These cities here have defunded the police, and their crime rate has, in some cases, quadrupled.
No, hold up.
Quadruple.
Is Baltimore on that list?
Yes, it is.
The Baltimore is that one lady looked like Beetlejuice. Right?
No, that's Chicago.
That's
Chicago. That's Mayor Lightfoot.
I gotta tell you, man. I mean, I don't like making motherfuckers, but when I see you on the darn stand, I'm like, she make my eyes get big. We need to defund police. What's your name, Mayor Beetlejuice? I mean,
let me give you some numbers real quick. According to Forbes, funding cuts range from $1 billion in New York City to $3.5 million in Seattle,
Yep.
$850,000 in smaller cities like Norman, Oklahoma. However, Forbes also reports that several cities have increased police spending, including Houston, San Diego, Nashville, Durham, North Carolina, and Sacramento, California. Sacramento, California.
That's where you were.
Had the largest police pay increase in its history.
Was Beetlejuice around?
No, Beetlejuice is on the East Coast. She's still in Chicago.
I need to stop. Well, I like those numbers you talk about. 64% of Americans oppose this.
Oh, yeah.
64%. So less than 50% of the liberals are out there. That's 34%. They are for defunding police. But here's the deal. That 34% has the loudest voice in the room because the 64%, they're not doing it. We're just kind of don't defund the police. But you got Beetlejuice out there that's screaming. She's part of that 34%. And we have cities that are continuing to decline. Now, police officers, I mean, you're a police officer, Dave. I mean, really, it's hard enough doing that. I mean, if you were a police officer today, I mean, would you want to continue to do that? I mean, what? No. I mean, talk to us.
No, well, most police officers right now, since Walt brought it up, we're seeing police officers across the country retiring at an alarming rate because they believe right now, first of all, they don't have support from their own administration, and second, that they're not getting support from their communities any longer, which I have to argue about the communities because most communities, the majority of communities, still have the backs of cops. But it is the administrations, it is the mayors, it is your police chiefs, your lieutenants who are not supporting their law enforcement officers. So if you don't have that support from within the house, why return home?
Yeah, local government. So since 1977, budgets have gone up $114 billion. Yeah. We're talking about throughout the nation. Local and state governments have been supporting police. Now, I know at the state house, we support the police. We make sure that they've got enough money in their budget. However, we're restricted to the state police, the Department of Public Safety.
Yes.
However, with earned state revenues, we try to make sure that police departments, cities have enough money to defund their police. Now, Flagstaff, which is going to be your headache here pretty soon. No, I shouldn't say that. It's going, probably. It's going to be your challenge to try to maneuver that in a way to where the city government does not defund the police because they've already started on the path to do that. To defund in Tucson also. So I know in the House last year, we had actually talked about that those organizations or towns or cities that choose to defund the police, that we were going to hold or earn state revenues because people need to be protected. And a few voices on the left, 34%, should not have the say on whether or not the community should be protected. It should be the majority, but that's how they roll. That's how they roll.
And I agree too. I believe that if possible, if legislation can be written that you would write something that basically says that any town or any city in the state of Arizona that plans on defunding the police, we will take funds from their coffers. We will shrink their budgets because police are an element within our community that is needed. If you notice, if you look at the crimes that are occurring around the country, like I said, some of them are quadrupling. On an average, 50 people are shot at, and multiple are killed in Chicago every single weekend.
Yeah.
Why? Because the police have given up. They have defunded. Police are retiring. They've given up because if I do anything, I'm going to be sued, and then my department is going to either terminate me, and then I'm going to lose my retirement. And so why go out and bust your butt if you have no support any longer?
I couldn't do it.
No, I wouldn't.
I just really, I feel bad for those officers that are out there right now at those departments that actually have taken an initiative to defund them. There is actually one department in California that has taken the officer out of the equation for traffic stops. I'm not sure if you heard about this. So, and I'll find the article, but they have a civilian counterpart with a uniform, I guess a ticket book, and they conduct traffic stops and without a firearm. Now, you're a police officer, okay? Isn't that, and correct me if I'm wrong, isn't that outside of domestic violence one of the most explosive violent situations a police officer can find himself in is a traffic stop?
It is. It's because they already have the jump on you. You don't know what's happening in that vehicle, but that person in that vehicle already has plans.
Yeah.
So you have to have your head on a swivel. You have to be ready when you walk up. And also today's vehicles, the windows are all tinted. You don't even know who's in the back seat.
Yeah.
So you have to be very cautious, and it is a dangerous job.
So I'm hoping, and we're not in California. I'm hoping in California, Larry Elders is running for that governor's seat because of the recall of, what is it, Gavin Newsom? That guy, is that his name?
Yes.
Running for the recall on that. They got stopped the recall, but you can't use stop the vote. But they got stopped the recall. However, I really hope that Larry Elder wins that race, because the ridiculous policy of putting a civilian in a situation that is volatile, and you're a police officer, you've even said it, and I've done studies, to put a person in that position to make a political point that we need to defund the police is ridiculous, and it's irresponsible. And governments that do that, governors that do that, city mayors that do that, they need to be challenged, because they are putting people at risk, and they're putting communities at risk. It's all over. It's a bad deal.
I'm laughing because you said that's a ridiculous thing to do, have a civilian go out and do traffic stops, right? Mm-hmm. You want to hear something even more ridiculous?
Here we go.
In San Francisco,
oh boy,
just came out, you can look this up, they're offering $300 to people to stop shooting one another.
What?
$300 for people to stop shooting.
Somebody actually sat down and wrote that.
Yeah. And you know what? I'm going to go make some money, because I'm going to go in every other day and says, hey, I'm not going to shoot my neighbor. Give me $300. Hey, I'm not going to shoot the ice cream man. Give me $300. I'm
going to call San Francisco. Can I get $300? Because I ain't shot nobody today. I'd like to.
See, this is what we're dealing with.
What is
the progressive left? The progressive left has no. I don't know.
Stop playing.
I don't know.
$300.
Look it up.
I'm not going to look it up, because I don't feel like throwing my iPad across the room.
Where does that mentality come from?
Stupidity.
Well, yeah, I'm trying to be.
You trying to be nice?
Let's throw it into Greek. Stupid. Okay.
What? Stupid is. Come on, man. Really? $300.
$300.
And they think somebody, okay. Oh.
And it is ridiculous. And they're talking about using social services to respond to domestic violence. Just like Walt just said a minute ago, domestic violence is one of the most deadly encounters that a cop can have, because 9 times out of 10, you might be there to arrest you might end up having to arrest a husband, and that wife will become also your attacker, because she doesn't want him arrested.
But the
That's
left,
a social worker over there.
But the left says historically police departments are inherently violent. Police are inherently violent. So and they're using, I don't know what historical data they're getting it from. However, this is the deal. When you are speeding, okay, I speed.
Yes, he does.
And I get stopped, but I know how to act. I'm just saying, I know how to act. So I don't care what color you are. If you are speeding, you break the law. The police officer didn't write the law. They are enforcing the law. And when you break the law, you are temporarily under that person's custody. Am I right?
Yes.
Okay. Now we have people. We got the citizen police that are out there that are whatever they're doing, the $300 don't shoot somebody today deal and all that. Now we have people that have brazenly fought back against police officers by not offering their ID if they've broken the law, because they say it's one of their constitutional rights. If you break the law, you lose some of your constitutional rights temporarily because you have broken the law. You've broken the law. So if I'm speeding and I get stopped, I need to make sure that I'm doing the right thing to allow that police officer to perform their duty. Because temporary right there, I am in their custody because I have broken the law. It doesn't mean if I'm driving 99 miles an hour and a 35, that as soon as the police officer shows up, why you stop me? Because I'm black? What? Why you stop me?
And that's what Walt does too.
Oh, I do that. I'll do that. Now, I think I've been stopped more than anybody. More than anyone. I haven't been beat up. I haven't been shot. And it's not because I'm a lawmaker. It's because I let them do their job. And I know that I'm speeding. One time I was speeding DPS stopped me. He pulled me over. I said, you got me, dog. It was me. It was me. And I got a ticket that time.
When you think about it, you just said something. Why are you stopping me? I'm black. You know, they use that
Yes.
narrative, I'm black. Well, you think about this. They say that more blacks are killed by white cops in the United States.
Oh, yeah.
And that's a lie.
That is a lie.
That's a lie. More white men are killed by white cops in the United States.
Yes.
And what they do is they take that narrative and they forget to tell people that, well, you know, I'm in this black neighborhood in Chicago, which is predominantly black, and so the officers are arresting more blacks. Why? Because it's predominantly black.
Yeah. Yeah, they'll say, why do we have so many police officers in our neighborhood? Well, that's where a lot of the crimes are being committed. I mean, I'm serious. If I lived in a neighborhood, there was a lot of crime, there was a lot of people pushing whatever on the streets, I would want the police there patrolling and making sure that it's safe for me and my family to walk around. I would want that. But what they say, what the left says also, they says one of the pros for disbanding police, that police are not trained and were not intended to do many of the jobs that they perform. On that last part, I agree, because the police officer is not there to raise your kid. I'm just saying.
They're not social workers.
They're not social workers. They're not psychologists. They are there to enforce the law. But now we have put police officers in a position to where they have to. I've got a buddy that's a police officer. We served in the Army together. He drives trucks now, and I can see why. But he said, a police officer, and correct me wrong, you have 15 minutes to solve that person's entire life's problem on the very worst day. So you're expected to be a mother, a father, a teacher, a coach, a mentor, a psychologist, a sociologist, whatever, and you have to calm this person down. But they say that they don't have the skills or they don't have the training to do that, but they want to defund the police. Okay, so where are they going to get the training to do this that you're saying they don't have it? You want to take them? I'm confused. I'm going to... Who wrote that $300? I'm going to go slap them. I'm confused, man. But really.
You know what? And you have to ask yourself, why are these officers wanting to retire? Why are they trying to get out? When you think about it, you know, the national average pay for an officer is $47,000 to $58,000 a year. To strap on a gun and not know that in a matter of a second or two that your life can be taken from you. These men and women, they volunteer to serve your communities. They volunteer to stand in between you and the bad guy. But then they're demonized by the progressive left. Now again, this is not the majority of the country. This is mostly the progressive left, the Democrats. You look at all these cities I just named off, these are all Democratic run cities. And these cities here, they have like Portland, Oregon, Seattle, Chicago, New York, they have revolving doors. If you committed a robbery, you're out of the processing. I mean, out of the jail before the officer finishes his report. They don't even.
They're walking by where they still doing the report.
They don't even post bail anymore. They're out.
Well, California, they don't post bail. It's no bail or something like that.
Yeah,
you can commit a crime there.
Well, in New York, they've had guys that they have released in the past couple months have committed rapes as soon as they left jail. Murders, as soon as they left jail, when they should have been held because they had firearm violations, and they let them go, and they went out and killed or raped.
Yeah, but defund the police.
That's defund the police. Yeah, we don't need the police.
Yeah,
Matter of fact, we don't need the mayors and governors who are passing all these mandates, I guess you want to call it. So they're not laws.
They'd rather have a rapist out than a police officer protecting a person from being raped.
Yeah,
that's what you're saying. Now, what's your thoughts on standardizing the police to a national level? Because I've heard both sides on this. I've heard people say, now, for example, if we standardize and nationalize the police, we would have a problem right now because we see what's in the White House. That's a double-edged sword, I think. So I hear some people say standardize it, make it nationalized. I hear some people say hands off, just make sure we got the funding so we can continue to get police officers in the training they want. What's your thoughts on that? I mean, you're a police officer.
The latter.
Yeah,
the latter.
I agree.
Because each state, each city is totally different. You know, you can have a standardized system, but again, you're working under the umbrella of one entity.
Yeah.
Okay. Again, L.A. is different than Irvine, California,
or Snowflake, Arizona.
Snowflake, Arizona.
Snowflake, they don't play.
Nope. Come on out to cowboy country.
Yeah, they don't
Love to
play.
meet you.
Yeah, you see the lights behind you. You better pull over. You better else. But they are great professionals. They are great professionals. Yeah, that's come up to me. The nationalized are because they say that police officers are violating international human rights. I mean, come on, really? When you got somebody that's wrestling with you and trying to steal your firearm as a police officer, and you have to protect yourself and the people around you, you have to discharge that firearm to do that, to neutralize that person, you get the blame for it.
Yeah.
And all the media does is show the part where you have to defend yourself or somebody else. They're not going to show the part where the person walked in the store, beat up an old black man. I'm not going to say no names. Beat up an elderly black man, then went to a police officer's car, tried to pull his weapon from him, punched him, okay, wrestle him, and then the police officer had to defend himself. But I'm not going to say his name because we already know that's I don't want to dig up any old bones because you know how the Democrats get all crazy on you. I mean, come on, man. I mean, I'm like, really.
You're having a seizure right now.
You know what? Every time I hear something come out the liberal mouth, boy, I'm like, man, that's somebody's child that said that.
You know, it's sad that the officers feel the way they do. That
Yes.
I'm going to go out and I'm going to put my uniform on, but I don't know how much I'm going to put out.
Yeah.
Because I'm afraid of the repercussions from my department, from the news media, from the public.
Yeah.
And again, we're demonizing these people who are there to help us.
Yep.
Yeah. Any corporation, any company has bad apples.
Yes.
There's bad apples in law enforcement. There's bad apples in the fire department, but they're very, very few than in the public.
Yeah, and the bad apples stick out. Dude, I was thinking of this one episode. I was watching Sheriff Joe Clark.
Yes.
David
Clark.
Love that guy. Is it Joe Clark or
David Clark?
David Clark. Love that guy. So Don Lemon, whatever his name is, was interviewing him one day, and Don Lemon said something like that blacks are targeted and hunted by police officers more than any other demographic background. And Clark just says, "You don't believe that, do you? You know that's some bullshit, right?" Excuse my language. I mean, I was like, I know it should be, I'm sorry about that. But I'm like, you got to watch it. It was awesome. But the reason why I bring his name up, because they demonized him. And you don't hear much from him anymore because they just did so much to him because he stood his ground.
Oh, he's back.
Is he?
He's back.
Oh, man, that guy right there, yeah. What's he doing?
He's back. He's just started a PAC.
Maybe he can come to our show.
Well, he just started a PAC because he says he's tired of waiting for the GOP to get off of their...
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Maybe he can come to our show.
Yeah.
David Clark.
Well, it's funny. You bring up David Clark. We were in Payson last week, and I'm standing there. I had my cowboy hat on and stuff. No, I'm sorry, not at the rodeo grounds here when we had Save the Nation.
Oh, yeah.
And this guy walks up to me, and he goes, "Hey, what are you doing here?"
He thought you do from a distance look like David Clark.
Well, he comes up and he goes, "What are you doing here?" I go, "Well,
I live here.
I'm running for." He goes, "You're running?" He goes, "How long? When did you get here?"
I thought you were in Milwaukee.
Well, I tell the guy, "I've been here for 22 years." He goes, "What's your name?" I go, "I'm Dave Marshall. I'm running for LD6." He goes, "You're not the sheriff guy?"
That's a compliment, man.
That is a compliment.
You could, I used to be the sheriff guy. But you were law enforcement.
But a lot of people, they see me, they think I am the sheriff guy.
You got to go teach the cowboy hat. You're tall. And you were a law enforcement. That's most important.
Yeah.
Take out the the looks and everything like that. You're a law enforcement officer. Well, okay, yeah, that's between you and you. You and your wife, you and Lisa. I'm just saying. Okay. Don't want no drama up here because you're not sleeping on my couch. I'm just saying.
I've seen your couch. I don't want
to. Yeah, you don't want to sleep on that. Well, I got that big
5 dogs on
that. I got 5 dogs on that. I don't even sleep on my own couch. But, first of all, I don't think I've said this enough, Dave. I do appreciate your service being a police officer. You've done a multiple amount of service to the country, police, military. Now you're a pastor. Now you're running for office. But the deal is, I want to focus on, you being a police officer. You've been out there, and you weren't just an ordinary police officer. You were like, can I say it?
Depends.
I know. you were like in a task force.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So folks, if you don't know it, Dave Marshall is not, all police officers are good and outstanding, but you had like, your special operations type of police officers, and you did that. And I don't think I think that should be known, and you're not just talking from the cuff. You're talking as a person who is a former law enforcement officer who's California, one of the most dangerous places in the country besides Chicago. Okay, you were on the ground, and now you were seeing your fellow peers have to go through this nonsense of having to be defunded and villainized, and it's just insane what's going on.
And that's why, like we shared last weekend, we had some of the sheriff's deputies at the Save the Nation event.
Yes.
And we recognize them because Walt and I think I can speak for the majority of state officials here in Arizona, we support our law enforcement. And if I'm elected as a representative for LD6, I will support them no matter what, 100%, elected or not elected. I have their backs. And I can speak for Walt. We have their backs because we need law enforcement. They need to know that they are being supported by their chain of command, but also by their state representatives, and also by our future congressman sitting to my left here, Walt Blackman.
I mean, every time you see a law enforcement officer, it should be automatic, should be muscle memory that you go up to that law enforcement officer and say, thank you for your service.
Yes.
I try to do that. And I don't, and I don't just do that as because I'm in a political position. I do that because I truly appreciate what they do, what you do as a law enforcement officer, what you have to put up with. Number one. And I mean, these folks, these men and women just want to go home to their families just like everybody else at the end of the day, at the end of their shifts. But we got the left that are trying to make it more and more difficult for them to do that, put them in harm's way, put them in positions of compromised positions to where every single thing that they do or say is going to be scrutinized by the left. They're going to twist it and turn it, and then that law enforcement officer at the end of the day is going to get hurt.
Well, yeah, I think the majority of the people know how dangerous it is to be a police officer. And you have to realize, too, that most of your police officers or police women are family people. They get up, they work shifts, they go out, and they put that uniform on, and in many cases, they don't know if they're coming back tonight, or they're going back home that morning to their families.
They're in your church.
Yeah.
You see them at Walmart.
Church.
Yeah.
And it's a dangerous job. And the problem that we have is that we can no longer allow the progressive left to demonize our police officers, our firefighters, our medics, because we need them. Every community needs them. And I think that, like Walt just said, when you run across them, tell them, thank you. Thank you for your service. Because sometimes I think it's an ungrateful job because you don't hear that enough from people.
No, you don't.
And again, just let them know that you support them, that you have their back, because we have their back. And again, we're going to back the blue until they are portrayed in the light that they deserve, and that is they are professionals. And they deserve our support, and they deserve to have the funding that they need so we can take care of them. And just, they're part of our history, and we have great police officers out there. Looks like Mr. Beard is giving us the 2 minutes. Well, I like what Matthew says. He says, "Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the sons of God."
Yes.
Maybe taking that a little context. I'm using that for law enforcement because they are peacemakers. Okay, they're not rebel rousers. They're not out there to harm anybody. They're out there to save lives.
Yeah.
And to bring peace to our communities.
Yeah. And they don't leave the house every morning and say, who can I mess up today? They don't do that.
I just want them to know, though, and I think you too, is that the majority of your community, our community, I know for a fact, supports our police department, our sheriff's department, our firefighters. Just know that in the White Mountains that you have our support.
You'll continue to get it from the State House. You'll continue to get it from D.C., and we're going to continue to support you. Listen, our time is up. Mr. Beard has already given us the hook. We want to say thank you for tuning in. Spread this channel to your friends. The the America First Brothers. We need to spread it out. Subscribe. Hit that button below. Subscribe. When you subscribe, guess what? You're going to get all of the updates that we have on this show. We're going to continue to move on. And what do you got, man?
I just thank you for taking time out of your day just to listen to us. You know, we want to get relevant information to you, but we also want to make it fun.
Exactly.
As well.
Exactly.
And then there's some serious topics.
We do talk about serious
We
stuff.
do.
We do.
Last week we talked about Afghanistan.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that's not going to be at the end of it because I'm not happy about what I'm seeing today.
Exactly. So next week, I think we should be talking. Let's talk about abortion.
Let's talk about voter integrity.
Oh,
A lot of people have been asking me about that.
Do that.
Let's do that.
Because next week, I'm sorry, Mr. Beard.
We're
He's over here shaking his head. Okay, I'm sorry. Y'all know we're gonna do this every week. Don't start tripping. 30 seconds. Look at him, Mr. Beard, like he got somewhere to go. Y'all got 2 minutes, or I'm cutting you off. Come on now.
Well, stay tuned. Next week,
Voter integrity.
we're going to talk about voter integrity.
Voter integrity, and that's going to be a good topic because the results from Arizona should be coming out.
Yes.
And we'll talk about that next week. Take care, everybody. God bless you. God bless our country. And come in and tune in to the America First Brothers.
God bless you.
All right.